Well, those were some quick headlines from the election season as the phase 3 of Lok Sabha polls 2024 is currently ongoing across the nation. We will come back to our focus on that, but currently we are covering a different story that has originated in Bengaluru. Now, heavy showers accompanied by thunderstorms and gusty winds and in fact even hailstones pounded many parts of Bengaluru. The heavy rains resulted in fallen trees and waterlogging in many parts of the city. Waterlogging has been reported in many parts of Kathriguppe Signal, Lingarajapuram Main Road, Mekhri Circle, Jayamahal Road, Gundurao Circle, Gangamma Circle, PES College near the Devegowda Circle, Hennur Main Road, Malleshwaram and other areas. Yellow alerts for thunderstorms have been issued for Bengaluru rural and urban, Chamarajanagara, Chikkabalapura, Kolar, Mandya, Mysuru, Ramanagara and Tumakuru districts. Kempegowda International Airport authorities said 7 flights were diverted from Bengaluru on Monday, and this was due to adverse weather conditions that the flights got averted from Monday evening onwards. Now, the diversions included 6 flights to Chennai and 1 to Coimbatore. Slow-moving traffic reported due to waterlogging at various locations in the city. Well, these are the visuals that have come in from the city. Quite a dire situation there with regards to some weather updates that we are getting. Hailstones were also, in fact, seen in different parts of the city. And quite quickly, definitely, though it has brought in respite from the heat that Bengaluru was undergoing, the heat wave that Bengaluru was also undergoing this season, but it has also disrupted daily lives in different parts of Bengaluru. With that, now we're shifting our focus to a different story and we're taking you up north to Jammu and Kashmir now. An encounter started early on Tuesday between terrorists and the security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Kulgam district. Police has said that following the intelligence inputs about the presence of terrorists in the Redwani area of Kulgam district, an operation was started to flush them out of their hideouts. When the security forces closed on the hiding terrorists, they fired at the security forces, triggering the encounter as well. And the Kulgam encounter has come in the wake of the Poonch terror attack in which one air warrior, in fact, was killed and 4 others were injured. This is the particular update that we are getting. Remember, the Poonch attack had only taken place last week, and in fact, investigation was still on as forces were trying to figure out where the terrorist hideouts are, and there were injuries that had taken place, casualties in fact that had taken place in that terror attack as well. And right after that particular incident has happened, now this is the report that we are getting from Kulgam. You can see the visuals that have come in from Kulgam, the operations that have been taking place there. Remember, as we just mentioned, police has said that the intelligence inputs about the presence of the terrorists in the Redwani area of Kulgam district is an operation that was started to flush them out from their hideouts. And when the security forces had closed on the hiding terrorists, they fired at the security forces as well. And that firing, that exchange of firing is what triggered the encounter in the first place. And in the wake of the Poonch attack, this Kulgam encounter has in fact taken place. And the Poonch terror attack had in fact led to the loss of one of our air warriors as well, while it had left 4 others injured. And it is right in the aftermath of the investigation and the probe that was ongoing for Poonch attack that this has taken place. Remember, there were a lot of war of words also that had developed over the Poonch attack. Politically, the story had also developed where the Congress had questioned the BJP with regards to the timings of these attacks taking place in Jammu and Kashmir back to back. But currently, this is yet another encounter that we hear of from Kulgam. Now, Now next up, RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav has backed the reservations for Muslims. And this came in his remark when he was being asked about the BJP's charge that the opposition wanted to give reservation to the Muslims from within the OBC quota. And Lalu Prasad said that Muslims should be given full reservation. He also in fact hit back at the BJP, saying that the party wanted to finish the constitution and democracy altogether. Now here is a particular response that's coming in from Lalu Prasad, the remark that was made by him on Muslim reservation. Let's just listen into what has been said by him.
मुसलमानों को आप लोग आरक्षण दे रहे हैं, ओबीसी का लेकर मुसलमानों को दे रहे हैं।
रिजर्वेशन तो मिलना चाहिए मुसलमानों को पूरा।
मुसलमानों को आप लोग आरक्षण दे रहे हैं, ओबीसी का लेकर मुसलमानों को दे रहे हैं।
रिजर्वेशन तो मिलना चाहिए मुसलमानों को पूरा।
Now, well, our next particular story is with regards to Priyanka Gandhi. Now, setting up the tone for the political campaign in Amethi and Raebareli, Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi made kick-started campaign from the Raebareli constituency. Now, Priyanka stated that historically people of Raebareli and Amethi have stood by the side of the truth and democratic values to oppose political forces that did not keep public interest on their top priority list. Now, listen in to what Priyanka Gandhi exactly had to say while she was addressing the gathering there.
कि चुनाव आता है तो डर भय फैलाया जाता है और चुनाव के समय भी, अगर चुनाव के समय नहीं तो बाकी समय के लिए भी ये परिस्थितियां रहती हैं आपकी कि आपको दबाने की कोशिश होती है, आपका शोषण किया जाता है। तो ये वो राजनीति नहीं थी जिसकी नींव महात्मा गांधी जी ने डाली। महात्मा गांधी जी ने, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने जो आंदोलन किया वो इसलिए किया था ताकि जनता के अधिकार मजबूत हो। शायद वो सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि एक दिन एक ऐसी सरकार आएगी इस देश में जो उन्हीं को देशद्रोही कह के ये कहेगी कि अगर हमें 400 सीट दे दो हम संविधान को बदल देंगे। वो सोच भी नहीं सकते थे शायद कि ऐसी स्थिति देश में कभी आएगी कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री जो भाषा इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं या जिस तरह की बातें कर रहे हैं चुनाव के समय, वो अपने पद का स्तर इतना गिरा देंगे कि अपने पद की गरिमा के बारे में सोचेंगे ही नहीं, कि अपने पद की अहमियत के बारे में का आदर भी नहीं करेंगे। और शायद वो ये सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि एक ऐसा दिन आएगा जब हमारी जनता को कमजोर करने की कोशिश सरकार करेगी। हमारे देश की, हमारे धर्म की परंपरा रही है। किसी भी गुरु की सीख आप देख लीजिए, पूरे हिंदू धर्म में, कल्याण सिंह जी, सिख धर्म में भी, सब धर्मों में जो भी परंपरा रही है, जो भी हमें सिखाया गया है वह यही सिखाया गया है कि सेवा का धर्म होना चाहिए, सत्य के पथ पे चलना चाहिए और देश में जनता जो है, जो गरीब है, जो किसान है, जिसके पास कम है, जो कमजोर है, वही सर्वोपरि होना चाहिए।
Now, while Rahul Gandhi is contesting from Raebareli, KL Sharma is in the fray from Amethi. The Amethi and Raebareli seats will go to the polls on May 20th in the 5th of the 7th phase of the general election. Now, that is the particular story that we were focusing on with regards to Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's comments, recent comments, in fact, that's come in during the election season. With that, now we're shifting our focus to a different story. This is with regards to Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing and the probe that had been launched into it. Now, after recent allegations on Indian government's alleged involvement in the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the US State Department has asked India to take up the matter very seriously and investigate it. The US State Department spokesperson was responding to media query on the arrest of 3 individuals who are linked with the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar as alleged by them. Now, spokesperson Matthew Miller made it clear that it's something that the US takes seriously and wants India to take the matter seriously as well, and that there is an ongoing diplomatic crisis between India and Canada after the Canadian Prime Minister accused the agents of the Indian government of killing the Khalistani leader on Canadian soil in June 2023. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, in fact, said that Canada is a rule of law country with a strong and independent justice system and a fundamental commitment to protect its citizens. However, India has time and again dismissed all accusations as absurd and completely motivated. Well, with that now, we have some quick headlines we'll take you through from the international arena. Let's get right into it. Right into the first story that we are focusing on in the international ambit. On Monday, Palestinian Islamist group Hamas agreed to the three-phase ceasefire deal that had been planned for a hostage prisoner swap between the two sides. However, according to an Israeli official, Prime Minister Netanyahu has now backed out of this deal, saying that the terms have been softened. Both the US and Egypt had been acting as mediators between the two, urging them to end the 11-month-long war that began on October 7th in Gaza. Now let's take a deeper dive into the deal that had been chalked out between both the sides. If we speak of Phase 1, Phase 1 comprised of a 42-day-long ceasefire, and during this time, Hamas would release 33 Israeli hostages in return for Palestinian prisoners. Now, Israel would also be required to partially withdraw their troops from Gaza while allowing free movement of Palestinians from South to North Gaza. That is the Phase 1. Now, Phase 2, next up after the Phase 1 would be Phase 2, which would witness another 42-day period ceasefire, which would feature an agreement to restore sustainable calm in the Gaza region. Israel would also be needed to completely withdraw most of their troops from the region, and this would be in terms of exchange as well, because this could also include a term of exchange wherein Hamas would release Israeli reservists and some of their soldiers in return for Israel releasing some of their Palestinians from jail. This is basically the deal that has been chalked out has two parts to it. One is of the exchanges that's going to take place between both the sides, and the other being the military operations being stopped. So in the third phase now, if we speak of, the last phase would be finally marked by ending the blockade on the Gaza Strip and the completion of the exchange process of bodies. It would also witness the starting of the implementation of reconstruction in that region. Now, these are three phases which were very carefully curated under the supervision of Qatar, Egypt, and as well as the United Nations that had been offered to Hamas on April 27th by Israel. And this was a proposition that was put forth to the Hamas, which now they have agreed to on Monday, which is yesterday, but now Israel has walked out of it. Why? Because according to Israel, the terms of the agreement weren't similar to the framework that was proposed by them initially, and that it had, and then the consequences of this current framework, the current deal that's been framed, would be far-reaching according to them. This is the particular story that we are following on right now. Now, when we speak of Hamas, now the next story that we are going to take you through is the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas on Monday, as we just mentioned, agreed to a Gaza ceasefire proposal from the mediators. But Israel says that the terms did not meet its demands and pressed ahead with strikes in Rafah while planning to continue negotiations on a deal. More on this in this particular report that we play out.
There was cheering in Rafah in Gaza on Monday night after Hamas said it had accepted a ceasefire proposal from mediators, even as residents fled the city in fear of an Israeli assault. But any likelihood of such a ceasefire taking place was quickly played down by Israel. Hamas said in a brief statement that its chief had informed Qatari and Egyptian mediators that the group accepted their proposal for a ceasefire. It comes as Israeli forces struck Rafah and ordered residents out of parts of the city, which had served as a last refuge for more than 1 million displaced Gazans. A spokesperson for the Israeli military said all proposals that would release hostages held in Gaza would be considered, but said that for now, its operations would continue. In Tel Aviv, families of hostages kidnapped by Hamas in the October 7 attack called on President Benjamin Netanyahu to take the deal.
Save lives, don't talk about fighting in blood.
An Israeli official speaking on condition of anonymity said the proposal that Hamas had accepted was a watered-down version of an Egyptian offer and included elements that Israel could not accept. An official briefed on the peace talks, also speaking on condition of anonymity, said, however, that the offer was effectively the same as one Israel had agreed to at the end of April. Israel said on Monday it was conducting limited operations in part of Rafah, following a rocket attack that killed 4 Israeli soldiers the day before. Omar Shakir with Human Rights Watch said an invasion of Rafah would be, quote, unlawful and catastrophic.
The areas that have been marked for evacuation are areas that have been decimated by Israeli forces that do not have the infrastructure needed for human life.
A spokesperson for the U.S. State Department said Washington would discuss the Hamas response with its allies.
It would bring an immediate ceasefire. It would allow increased movement of humanitarian assistance, and so we're going to continue to work to try to reach one.
Well, with that now, we've come to an end to this bulletin, but do stay tuned to News 9 Live as we keep coming back with more through the day, right here. Thank you for watching.
India produces between 1,500 and 2,000 films every year, the highest for any country, but they get ignored at international awards.
The Oscars are basically American national awards for themselves.
You're not going to be able to make a better pizza than an Italian chef. You're not going to be able to make a better sushi than a Japanese chef. Will you make better khichdi than a Japanese chef?